Welcome back to Waiting on the Trade, the Dream Journal. I'm Patrick Fitzgerald Fleck, and as always, I'm joined by Matthew Ledger
Hello.
and Michael Drew.
I'm sorry, guys. I keep coming back.
This week, we are discussing the 10th and final volume of the Sandman. All right, Matt, let's hear that synopsis.
I'm sorry, I wasn't prepared for Mike's sincere apology. I need a second.
Gotta take it in stride.
Punched me in the gut a little bit there. In the wake, most of reality gathers in the dreaming to mark Morpheus' passing, and the Endless officially welcome a new dream to their ranks. The volume in the series ends with 3 epilogues centered around the theme of carrying on or choosing not to in the face of loss and strife. Guys, we did it.
That was super impressive. Good job.
Me? I wrote this
Yeah.
yesterday, man.
Good job.
Some of us prepare.
Oh,
love
you already apologized, Matt. Stop.
You're not going to get the more sincerity, guys. I don't know what you're looking for.
He's peaked.
This is the best it gets.
Before we get into the real discussion questions, how do you guys feel having arrived at the end of The Sandman?
I don't know if I want to die or if I want to keep on living.
Okay.
And I have to make a choice.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not happy that I have to make a choice. But it's fine.
I'm looking back to see when we started this now, because I meant to do
Was
this
I-
earlier today and I didn't.
When we started the series, I think I did not imagine it taking us this long.
As long as it did. Well, you know, stuff happened.
Things did occur, yeah.
August of 2021.
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus.
April of 2023. That's not that bad.
It's fine.
It's
It's about every 3 months, right?
Sure.
Sure.
Keep
I
in
don't
mind,
know.
it won't come out till May also, so.
Yeah, right.
Fine. By May.
This is probably my third full read-through, I think. I'm going to say maybe fourth. I'm thinking it's third. What about you guys? How many times have you made it through this?
Also probably third for me. I would think
Mm.
once in Australia, once here again.
Are we? I think we're having a threesome right now, guys. Because I think this is
Threes?
my third time as well.
You know, 3 is a significant number in the Sandman. Maybe we were the kindly ones all along.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
No, I got it with Wizard World. I think it was the
Mm.
same Wizard World where I met Edward James Olmos too. Because
Sounds right. Yeah.
I remember buying it, and then I powered through it because that's what I do, and then I put it down, and then I picked it up once again, and now here we
Put
are.
it
So
down.
3. I also got a few of the death because death is awesome. Death is the way to go. The character, not.
I would hope so.
Mike circling back to his question from earlier about whether he wants to continue living.
Yeah.
I mean, Death is just so fun. She's so great. Okay,
I did.
sorry.
Actually, I think I sent that to you guys. I was investigating Reddit threads to try to pull together a question for this one because I feel like this one I had like a lot of different angles I was kind of thinking about it from, and I wanted to come up with a good question because it's our second to last volume. Spoilers. So I was poking around in Reddit threads and just like I don't think I thought as much as maybe I should have about the fact that like so the Endless also very much embodied the opposite of themselves. Like especially in the Hob chapter in this one, Hob's like, this Ren Fair fucking sucks. And she's like, it's great. Everyone's doing everything. It's wonderful. It's just like really enjoys people living, which I mean we've seen before, right? But having encountered the Reddit thread and then circling back to look at Death listing off all of the like slightly cheesy things that she really loves about Ren Fairs, even though like should potentially be more jaded than Hob, was pretty fun and worth thinking about.
Yeah, I think I had similar thoughts as well.
She's always been very like, not sing-songy. That's too far. She's just always been the bright light, and it's. I don't know. There's a lot to be sad about in this now. Like the story is about grief, but I think saying goodbye to death that's the hardest goodbye for me.
You're talking about you as a reader not being able to read about the character
Yeah.
anymore?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Maybe we'll see her again in
I'm
another
sure.
DC.
Yeah, I'm sure she shows up.
Runs into Lex Luthor once. Good times.
Really?
Yeah,
You better
Neil
link on
approved.
the notes because I want to see it.
I don't put links in these notes, but I can
Matthew?
tell you it's part of the post Blackest Night arc in Action Comics where Lex was the main character, and he's trying to find, I think, a black power ring to like replicate the powers he had as like an Orange Lantern or whatever. And anyways, he ends up meeting Death.
Threw her into a Green Lantern spinoff? What the hell?
So yeah, I mean, again, Pat, they go on the shelf with the DC Universe bullshit. The Martian Manhunter is here. Batman is here. Superman is
Soups.
here. The Trenchcoat Brigade is here.
You see
Darkseid
Darkseid.
sitting in a pew.
Yeah, I caught that for the first time in this read through.
And say we discussed maybe doing one of our question as favorite cameos, and Darkseid just randomly sitting in a pew is probably mine.
That is excellent. I think you do see Wonder Woman too in the pews somewhere.
Oh, I didn't notice a Wonder Woman.
There was a moment in my past read-throughs where I sat and actually looked through it, and I do recall seeing one. Or I could be making it up. Who knows? It may just be my dementia.
Should
Could
quickly
be.
touch
My
on the
delirium.
fact that Clark sees himself as Clark, and Bruce sees himself as like a slightly even more terrifying looking Batman.
Yeah, I was gonna point that
out.
John Jones is his Martian self. Clark is Clark, and Batman's Batman.
Although I guess Martian
Doesn't everyone?
Manhunter's not in like full alien form now that I think about
That's
it.
true. He's in his more
Opportunity.
humanoid.
Although I guess he probably wouldn't have been as recognizable if not.
True. Yeah.
One of the only characters to be in the first arc of Sandman and the last arc of Sandman, the Martian Manhunter. Again, it goes on the DC Universe shelf.
I just need to remind you every once in a while.
Yeah.
God, that panel with the three of them though, it's so good. For not having anything to do with the story, they tell a story with that panel.
Yeah, it is a very
Yes, Patrick, they do. It's great.
It is a very nice, like, ragging on the fact that at the time Martian Manhunter had never appeared in other media. Don't you dream about when you're just an actor?
Doesn't everyone?
Now the Martian Manhunter's been in, like, what, 7 seasons of Supergirl or whatever, so the joke's not quite as
Oh,
good.
really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Sorry, spoilers, Pat, if you're ever going to watch the CW Supergirl.
That wasn't going to happen, so no worries. I knew that he had a cameo in Batman v Superman. No, one of those.
I think it's in the
Justice League?
God, fuck me, the extended version of Justice League.
There it
You made me
is.
think about the extended version of Justice League, Pat.
Have you watched that? Oh my!
No,
What are you
no,
doing?
I've never watched it, but you made me think about it, and now I'm sad.
I think we should watch
Bring
it
back the
sometime.
Snyderverse.
Oh God, I knew Mike was gonna troll me. So now that we talked about
Have a
a
wait
thing
for it.
that saps my will to live, should we take my discussion question first?
You want to do
Excellent.
yours first? Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think Mike has been trying to seg into it a couple times, and we haven't quite taken it. So I'm gonna let him. I'm gonna follow
What makes you want to keep living there, Matt?
Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
thanks for stealing my question, Mike.
Wow.
That's fine.
Sorry.
I can explain some of the context. So initially, one of the questions I had pitched to you guys out of like 3 was what makes you feel like you're dying. Because for me, this volume is so much about the interplay. Like, people see Morpheus having made the choice he made to essentially kill himself, right? Like, we talked about how it was basically suicide by Rube Goldberg machine last volume.
Mhm.
I think various characters in this volume see that, and kind of like, especially long-lived and or like characters who have already died, kind of like Matthew, like see that and they're like, well, you know, like, what am I doing here? Like, is it worth carrying on? And even in all 3 of the epilogues, I would argue, are basically about this question of what are you living for? Like, what are you striving to achieve something? Is there something you haven't done? Are there new experiences you want to do? Like, why continue living? I think Hobb does it. I think that, oh gosh, I keep forgetting his name, the advisor in the Desert Story, like, has been exiled from his home and his family, and is still like, well, I'm gonna keep doing it, because he's very much like Old Dream, actually. And then the Shakespeare one is actually really interesting because he kind of is making the choice to set down the pen after he finishes Dream's final play, and then like dies shortly thereafter. So I think like so much of this volume is about people considering like what is the point / is it worth it to carry on. So because drama, I guess, I don't know why, like the first variation of this question I was looking at was like like saps your will to live, like what makes you feel like throwing in the towel. I think maybe because that's the choice that Morpheus ended up making,
Mhm.
but that kind of sucked. I think you probably recognize that.
What, you think
Pat,
that's a
too.
downer? It's fine.
It's a bit of a downer, right? Like,
Yeah.
so I came back at it and I was like, no, let's talk about good things. We talk about depressing stuff on this podcast more than we should, probably. So let's talk about good
Sorry,
things.
guys.
Like, I mean, it's not you, man.
I mean, I
We
keep coming
talked
back.
about, like, with Simon, we recently talked about how there's a fundamental flaw in the American dream. It was a solid
God,
20,
where
20
was
minute
I? I want to
conversation.
take part of that. Jeez. I'm sorry. I'm sad I missed it.
So this time we're gonna do the good stuff. We're gonna do the stuff that Death was talking about, where it's funny people running around in costumes and it's neat. So like, what are the things that make you like want to keep living? Like, what are the things you enjoy doing? What else do you want to achieve? What have you not done yet? Me, I want to write a book, like a real book, and publish it. That's one of the things.
You wrote a book, friend. Hey.
Well, I mean, I did write it, but it's not published. And like, you wrote like a series of short stories and published that on Amazon, but it's digital. It's not the same thing. I'd like to publish
Digital.
a physical book. That's a thing.
Okay. That's a good reason. I like that.
I got other stuff too, but I figure we can take it in turns. We can go one at a time until we run out. One person runs out of things. That's not actually what we should do, but
I mean, for me, of course, it's my kids and my, seeing them grow up and watching, hoping that they get to experience adventures, good adventures. So I mean, I guess that's the answer that most parents would ideally have. But I don't know. They're a lot of fun and they're great kids. I can't
Mike, you
wait to
just made me think of the time that you said parents shouldn't have children. What a
Parents
great day
shouldn't
that
have
was.
children.
That makes me want to keep living. Like, every once in a while, Mike Drew will say something profound.
Microdruism, yes.
I try not. It really is bad when I'm the profound one. But yeah, no, that's that. I feel like I'd be a bad parent if that one. So it's not even just because it's. You gotta. Sorry, I love them both. They're excellent
Oh, I'm
little
glad you
adventures.
apologized
And
for loving your children, Mike. I was going to ask you to do it.
you
if
have my
didn't.
sincerest apologies. But
Just
Like,
I
I
can't
do
wait to
believe
see
you're
where
a parent
it
who
goes.
should have children, though. Just so you know, it's fine. I'll allow it.
I could, believe it or not, right now I could segue us into a 20-minute discussion about how fuck the American dream is, but I won't.
Mike, would you say
No,
that's
Mike.
one of the reasons you have for living is
I mean,
just
some smart people have to have kids. Otherwise, where the fuck are we headed? Anyways, Patrick, take it away before I go
I don't
further.
Yeah, I don't know. This is a tough question for me because it's been a rough year, you guys. It's been
I know, man.
It
I
has been.
know.
So yeah,
I can give you my second answer if you need a minute.
if it's your wife, it wouldn't work for me. I'm sorry.
No, I mean,
Well,
my
she
second
might work
answer
for you.
Oh God, be weird. Disney World. Fuck yeah.
No, that is not. That is
Oh
not
God.
one of the
Fuck
reasons
yeah.
to live.
They're
It's not
Like,
remaking
Disney
Swiss
World.
Family Robinson. It's going to be a new TV show. That's going to lead to them redoing the
Oh, are they
Swiss Family Robinson
really?
Treehouse.
God.
Ron Moore is on it,
damn it.
man. Ron Moore. Battlestar Galactica, Swiss Family Robinson. I'm all fucking for it. Gonna be great. Gonna be great.
I like that Mike
Also-
went from I could go for 20 minutes about the flaw in the American dream to I love Disney,
Disney World.
Get me to Florida, baby.
I'm
mean,
part of the problem.
Fuck Florida. Just Disney World. See the rest of Florida to Disney, and I'd be fine with it.
I don't want that.
When
Like
will
Disney
I
is
welcome
still
our
a
new
giant
government.
corporation.
When will Disney just assert its like dominance over all of Florida and become like the ruling
It's
body?
happening. It's happening. Florida tried to take over a panel, and Disney's like, no. We laugh at your laws and have lawyered our way out of them. Enjoy. The mouse will have his due.
All right, Pat. We've talked about
Understand.
Disney a lot. You've had time to think.
I would say stuff like this. Friends. That's
I was
what
also
saying.
I was also going to do the sappy answer of this. I do really look forward to this, like every month or 2 weeks or whatever schedule are on, like the podcast.
Yeah.
It is fun.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. Not quite as
Good.
good as kicking you guys' ass at XNL, but it's good.
I mean, that was also a thing I was kicking back and forth is like since Kat and I have moved back to Wisconsin, like we have actually gotten to have a lot more actual FaceTime with our friends again, and that has been very nice. So
It does make a difference.
It definitely does. I'm very happy that as adults we have, not too far to travel to see each other. And by not too far to travel, not to fucking California.
I don't think
I
we've
mean,
made it out there, so
slightly with you there, man. You made it there via the internet, so it's fine.
the internet. There you go. So I took the sap answer. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's fine. I mean, the sap answer is a good answer, man. Like,
I want a Miata.
you want a Miata?
Yeah, it's another reason to live. I want a Miata.
That's a,
At some point in my life, I'm gonna own a Miata. It's gonna be
a
great.
car? It's a
Yeah.
car.
It's a little fucking convertible. It looks cute and cute. Put the top
What
down, drive around. It'll be nice.
what color Miata would you get?
I don't know, silver or red,
Okay. All right.
depending on the mood.
I could see you driving around in a red Miata.
Yeah,
I'm looking at a picture of it now.
be a fat old white guy driving around a Miata. It's gonna be great.
Pat, you have to keep living because we're gonna publish a board game at some point too, or a card game, and I need your help.
Yeah. There you go.
So, next December, we're gonna go to the Madison board game testing group convention thing that I found last December randomly.
YouTube algorithm has started feeding me 40K miniature gameplay.
Oh no, don't do that. Don't live for
it's-
that.
It has started to pique my interest, unfortunately. So we'll see how that goes.
No, Pat.
We had that idea back in college of having a comic book store combined with a arcade, and I still am for that. At some point, if we have some money to throw around,
Dude, I was just
that'd be
thinking
something.
the other day about like if I randomly came into $1 million because like I don't know, I'm just like, what would I do? Because I've been writing a lot. Like my hands are tired. Anyways, so I was like, what would I do if I had just like $1 million and we paid off the house and I had like some money to just kick around? And like
Pay off my house.
I would maybe pay off your house.
Oh,
I
thanks.
would probably open a joint comic/coffee shop that sold just like graphic novels because I don't want to fuck with single issues.
Single issues. Yeah.
Yeah, like I think single issues are actually cool, and I'm glad there are shops that still sell them. But like if I opened a shop, I don't think I'd want to mess around with it. And like so many bookstores have just graphic novel shelves and do fine, so I think that's where I'd be at. But like, yeah, I would consider doing that still. I've still kicked that around every once in a while. Someone's just got to feed us the startup money. Venture capital is
Sunbury
getting
needs a
tight, I
comic
think.
store. Does not have one.
Does have a game store,
It
although
does have a game store, but it's not a comic
tangent.
store.
It's so tough to get to that store. I always feel like it's a maze.
It is in it is in a very hard to get to area. It's a very pedestrian mallish. Yeah, my one
Is it
major.
pedestrian?
No, it's not pedestrian. That's
Are you
the
talking about
trouble.
I'm bored, right? It's
Yeah,
like full
talking
of
about
yeah.
Yeah,
You definitely
not
need to drive there.
No,
fine.
I drive there and I still feel unsafe getting there.
It doesn't have much foot traffic, I would imagine, but
I wouldn't think so. But I mean, there's usually people in there when I go. So
it's a great store. I'm glad they're still around. But yeah, I don't know. The stress of being a small business owner, I don't know. I don't know.
that's
Yeah,
why
but
we have
fine,
enough
fine.
money that we can just lose money the whole
Oh,
time.
okay. So in this, we've won like a lottery or something, and this is just a
Yeah,
thing. That
again, this
okay.
is yeah.
As long as we don't need to live off of what like profits from the store, I'm good with that. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, especially considering this, like, I was thinking about it in terms of Shakespeare had kind of like in the Shakespeare story, which you guys both, I think, didn't like as much as me, but maybe I like it more because I write things.
Just so
Like-
fucking
Maybe.
Shakespearean.
Like, he's just kind of like come to the end of it and like finished off writing, and I was like, I don't know if I'll ever finish writing. Like, I do a lot of it currently, and I'm not sure I should do as much of it as I do. Like, I have writing for work, writing for the blog, writing for the neighborhood newsletter, like fiction writing that I haven't
Oh, I
really
didn't know
done
you did a
recently, but, like,
newsletter.
yeah, just a couple articles, and then I did some editing. But like my work and 2 to 3 of my hobbies are writing. And I was like, maybe I should dial that back a little bit. But I don't think I'd ever quit writing in the same way that it, like, basically here they're like, Shakespeare put down his pen and never wrote again.
And then he died.
And then he died.
Then he died.
Because if you don't use it, you lose it.
That's right.
I don't know. He died after a night of drinking, which is the best way.
No, I see myself as more of a hob, actually, for being the person who phrased the question, like, in the dark way instead of the light way originally. Like, I think I see myself as more of a hob innately, though, again, I have also had trying times, as we mentioned, semi-recently, but I don't know, there's stuff to do. I'm gonna go to the farmer's market on Saturday. I think the same way that Hob says his girlfriend would kill me, my wife would kill me also, so there's that. I guess, did you guys, before we back off of my question and get to one of your guys', because I'll shut up soon, I promise.
No worries.
Believe you.
Like, did you guys kind of see that same sort of, like, central theme in the volume? Because to me it was pretty apparent, like, even in the funeral bit of it with Matthew too, like, there's so many people who are, I think in general people use the death of another person as a moment of reflecting on their own life, and I think that's not unusual. I think it's common.
Yeah, I think that's commonplace. I don't think there's a one way to grieve, but I don't think that's uncommon to see. Something I find I do when I'm in that sort of a situation.
Also, didn't even mention that Gilbert actually makes the opposite choice. Just decides, no, I'm gonna stay dead.
Yet he still makes an appearance in the book. What a guy.
Well, he's forced to.
What a man. He's there even when he's not there.
Gotta get that one last whom in.
You did. Yeah, I definitely got the same feeling. I don't know. Just like Mike was saying, the last couple epilogue stories, not my favorite. It's a strange way to end. Well, not really an end, but for the time.
Strange, though? Or is it like Sandman is held to be like, cool, we did a good like main story. Here's some like random stuff to wrap it up with.
And then here are these things.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it is. I don't know. That Shakespeare one had so many Neil Gaimanisms in it where just like, what is this bit about a corpse being dragged around? Like, did that have anything bearing on the rest of the story? No, it didn't, Neil. Didn't need to be.
Or did
Lost
it?
me.
Because if Sandman had kept going, would it have not been a corpse being dragged around?
Oh my
Oh
god.
my
Has Morpheus been a corpse being dragged around most of
Oh
the story?
my
He was already dead.
gosh.
Just going through the Rube Goldberg steps to get there. Gotcha, Pat.
No, I still don't want it.
I think, and this is a seg towards your question, which I was not expecting to do second, but maybe
Oh,
we
here we
will.
go.
That if the Shakespeare story wasn't there,
Mhm.
it would be an actual essential missing like part of the story. Like it would
This
be
is
an
the
open.
promised second play.
Yeah, like this is the second play, and like we definitely needed it because otherwise, like something would have been missing from the Sandman. Like it was a Chekhov's pen that had to be taken down and used to write a play, or else I would have been mad, I think.
Yeah, and I think that's why it's there.
That is
It's
true.
that either Neil realized or one of his editors or someone said, hey, by the way, whatever happened, which other Shakespeare play is actually Morpheus's?
I know technically, like at some point earlier in the run, Neil said that he knew how it was going to end pretty soon on.
Mhm.
I would be surprised if this was that ending, though. I don't know. Like it feels like it would be something you might not have thought on until later on. This is
Yeah.
all guesswork, but
Well, the introduction to my volume had I don't remember who wrote it now off the top of my head, but I believe she was saying that Neil had said early in the run, I think when they were just starting, she was telling another British comic book writer that Neil said, yeah, I know exactly how it's going to run, and it's going to be 30 issues or 60 issues. It was like a much smaller, like almost half the length of what it turned out to be. And the comic book writer like laughed and said, yeah, good luck. He thinks he knows how this thing's going to end.
I was actually just listening to an interview with a different creator, Declan Shalvey, who's talking about like his current creator-owned book, and he's talking about how if the sales are good, he'd love to do like he definitely is doing a second arc. he definitely like he has a third arc in mind that would be the end of the story, but like the more of it he does, the more he's like, oh, this would be fun, or oh, that'd be
Yeah.
cool to play with. Like I feel like it happens to most people who get some runway with these things. They're like, oh, okay, let's take this here and there and everywhere for a little bit, and then bring it back. I wouldn't be surprised if like the firm arc of the story was set, if not immediately, like relatively quickly, like into volume 2 or something like that. That would
I
not
mean,
surprise me because there
yeah.
are a lot of pointers that go in the direction the story is going to go, even early on.
Yeah, I would say like a third or more of this is just short stories that are loosely tied to the world that Neil created.
Yeah.
Which, you know, for most of them, I was there for.
I actually really liked Morpheus and Will Shakespeare getting to interact at the end. Like, I think it was a good wrap up. I know you guys may not have enjoyed it as much, but like,
It was just a strange
Um,
note to end on. I don't know. I felt like Hobbs' story would have been a nicer conclusion.
Hobbs' story is better. And Mike, before we were talking, said it's the best issue of the volume, and I'm inclined to agree. So there is that.
Hobbs is the best issue. Just kind of. I'm just saying facts. Don't hear. Don't
No,
hear.
I agree, Mike. Just throwing facts down.
I do like having Morpheus, like legitimate Morpheus, in the last volume. I think it's nice to hit that we're ending on him.
I would think it would
And
be nice not to end on him because we've moved on at this point. Sort of weird to go
Yeah.
back.
It's yes, we have, and we got to see Daniel in the second, like there's the Hob volume, then there's Daniel volume, then there's Morpheus. Right? Fine. Maybe I'll say it this way.
I'm sorry.
Maybe
I didn't
you've
mean
moved
to.
on
I
past.
didn't mean to.
I haven't.
Shut him
Right,
down,
but
Matt.
I'm
Shut him
sorry.
down.
I'm sorry.
It's
It just. Yeah,
it
go ahead,
was
Mac.
his story. It was his story. So it ends on him. I think none of this would have happened without him, and it's a nice bookend on him. Could I have done with as much of the dumb Shakespearean bullshit? Yes, I definitely could have. But ultimately, having him back, it's like seeing.
So what's really interesting about that story to me is that it like kind of retroactively lets you know that Morpheus has known he's stuck for like much longer than I think we thought he knew. Like he's commissioning this play and he understands what it's about and how it contrasts with his own like personality and life. And he seems sad about it. And I don't know if at the start of the story I understood that Morpheus understood how like stuck he was or like how sad he was. But clearly this version of him that we're seeing here gets it.
I like that he got Shakespeare one. Shakespeare's like, you're not even gonna drink with me, or it's gonna cut me loose. Like I'm some schoolboy. No, you get me beer.
Contract work, man. You take your pay and you're happy.
Yeah, I mean the story itself is fine. I just again, and I don't even know. And Matt, I don't know if you know, was this released as the final Sandman issue, or is this just a reshuffling of for the volume?
This is the last one, as far as I'm aware.
Interesting, because I feel like there was such a nice conclusion and then epilogue, and then all of a sudden there's 2 more issues
There's 2
at
more?
the end. And just like, it keeps going.
So I initially bounced off the desert one when I had finished when I read the volume the first time for this recording. Just I think because the art style and like the pacing changes so much from the previous 4 issues in this volume. I was like, can't do this right now. Bounced off of it. But I do really like that one, if only because like getting to see both dreams in the same story is really cool.
Oh, because he meets him earlier and then Daniel later.
Yeah, so I enjoy that one, and I think that's a cool, like, its place in the story, like being after the wake, makes a lot of sense to me because we've seen one dream off, and now the other dream is here, and this like gives us just like a quick moment of contrast between the two.
Yeah, I guess I could have done without. It was fine where we ended, and I could see that there's they needed to figure out the loose string with Shakespeare with the second play, so that's why The Tempest is a thing. But Exiles was just felt like the hobbits finally returned to the Shire, and then
Someone did bring that
Aragorn
up.
is crowned, and then
I was reading online too of like, yeah, the Sandman, the Lord of the Rings of comics,
and then
ends 4 times.
they go off in the Grey Havens, yeah, and then it's just like I don't know the ending of the wake itself, even before they got to Hob stories, is such like a poetic ending, like and then you woke up or something like that.
And then you woke up. Yeah,
Yeah,
that is.
There are
Yeah.
4 endings here. There's the ending of the
It's-
actual wake, there's the Hob ending, and then there's the other 2 stories.
Well, just like the poetic nature, like it's called the wake, and it has so many meanings, and almost every single instance is like explored in the course of those 3
Yeah.
chapters. Literally, we wake at the end. It's just like perfect, and we're done. And then no, we're not. We're gonna keep going. Like no. So I don't know. I would have maybe trimmed the fat a little bit on this one. But anyways,
That
I would've
said, what
Trim
That's
story?
true.
Shakespeare is always the best.
no, I'm just saying for like this volume. But if there were, Matt, you make me put my foot in my own mouth. How dare you?
It's the podcast where we say each other's questions and mock them while we say them.
Oh, dare you?
What
No,
was my
there
question?
are still. What is your question, Mike? There are still stories untold in the Sandman universe, partly because we've already hinted that we're going to be reading an entire volume that explores more, or at least gives more details in the events that we've already seen. But do you guys have other stories that you would like to explore that weren't fully or at all?
I'm sorry. I'm
Good.
mm,
It's a prequel.
yeah. Overture is a pre. Is that the one where it's just standalone stories from the different?
Nope, that is
Endless-
Endless Nights, which we will
Endless
not
Nights
read
is-
because we already read it. There's an
It's true.
episode in the podcast feed. Go get it, listeners.
Okay, very good. Very good.
And Michael.
And Mike.
Excellent. I was trying to.
We power rank all of the issues. It's very exciting.
I was there. I think wasn't
You
I?
weren't.
I don't remember.
You
No,
weren't
you
there.
weren't there. It's just me and Pat.
Ah,
The Delirium story is impossible to read on a digital device, it turns out.
that makes
Which may have
sense. Actually.
affected my enjoyment of it.
Makes sense. If I remember right, the Desire story is pretty awesome. I think that one was probably my favorite out of it. But
We recently got a YouTube comment from a person who really likes the Desire story, apparently, so you were not alone, Mike.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
it's the best story out of the bunch. It
I mean,
really
it's
is.
not true, but that's okay.
You know
It's
what,
up there,
Pat?
but
It's okay to
not
be
the
wrong.
best.
I'm glad that you take pride in your opinion.
If you reread the volume, you'll come back to me and say, "No, Pat, you're right. That wasn't the best."
No, Pat, you were
No,
Your
no,
opinion
like
was always yours.
don't. No. You should reread it and then come back to us.
reread it and come back. You know damn well it's going to take me 2 months. Fuck
Never
you.
mind. Yeah, we have other things.
Mike, don't
we have
read
to
it. Just read Overture next, Mike.
Fine.
Please.
Fine.
But anyways, are there other like characters or events or things hinted at but not fully explained that you would have liked to be enlightened?
So I have a few, actually, and I actually quickly read Overture today because I wanted to check and make sure that the one that I'm most interested in, there is touched upon in Overture, but it's not the bit of it that I want is not, which is I want to see more of why Dream and Desire just fucking hate each other, or at least strongly dislike each other, right? Like, because that's so key to this entire story. If not the entire story, like a good piece of it, right, hinges upon the fact that like Desire is trying to fuck with Dream. And like we kind of understand why, right? Like they're just like sort of at odds because Dream can make whatever he wants, and so like the act of desire is not really meaningful to him, but at the same time he's the moodiest boy in the world. So he does actually like desire stuff, but then he's done with it. I don't know. Like the
concepts themselves are so similar, right? Like to
Yeah,
dream for
sort of,
something is
right?
to desire for it. At least you can have dreams
At
that
least,
are.
yeah, in a way, at least for sure.
What are your dreams? And that's usually another synonym for what do you desire.
But we also see in the it's what 3 Septembers and a January or whatever with the Emperor of the United
Mhm.
States, where like by having a man believe in his dreams so like completely, he's just freed from desire, and like I think that it says something about their relationship too. But like, there's no actual like origin point that we see of why they're so like they butt heads so hard.
Mhm.
I would like to see that. And we do get like we get another moment where
Yeah.
their relationship is like a little troubled in
An overture?
Overture,
Hmm.
but it's not the original moment because even when Dream is telling the story of that moment, he's like, "Well, previously I fucked up or whatever." I don't know if he obviously doesn't say he fucked up because it's old Dream, so he would never admit to that. But
No.
Well, I mean, in Endless Nights, they talk, they interact.
yeah, and I think
And
that
that's like
even
millions of years in the past.
yeah.
So
So I'm not sure if that is actually no, that's not it either. Because even there, they're like already butting
no,
heads,
they're
right?
already they don't like each other, and
Yeah,
then they like each other a little bit, and then they really don't like each other.
yeah, it's really weird. And I might have more to say about it when we get through Overture because
Overture? Hmm.
there are other twists, but like again, the story I want does not exist, which is like what happened originally. Because I think it's so much of a like a key point to like there's entire volumes where the volume is like and Desire fucked with Dream and he almost died as a result, or he did die as a result.
Or he did die.
Yeah, for sure. What about you, Mike? You got any that come to mind?
You would, of course, ask me this question, and I have nothing to say
I
because I'm
mean,
just like,
to be fair, I asked you it a couple days ago, but that's okay.
you know what?
Oh,
You know what? Fuck
punch
you.
him in the gut. Sincere apologies are for losers.
Yeah. Um, I want to know. Like, this is probably maybe it would be very boring,
Um,
and I'll accept that if it is. But I do kind of want to see the end. Like, does death outlast destiny? Is there like let's carry this through to the inevitable conclusion of time?
you
In
want the,
that
the great mystery explained to you?
I do. I want to know the ending.
That was what I was thinking about actually. Like I was imagining just like a page of just like infinite blackness and then eventually it becomes panels and then like there's a panel like there's a page turn and then death appears in one of the panels and just kind of wraps it up and then like maybe the page becomes white and that's done. I don't know. I was thinking that could be a cool story. Like there's a lot of cool illustration stuff you could do with that.
Like, does death come for destiny, or does destiny just close his book and be done? Like,
Just
I don't
disappears. Yeah.
Pretty sure
I
they
don't
say
know.
in this that death will take Destiny's book, and that'll be the end of it.
I don't know. I think it'd be fun, and more, or alternatively, very boring. Who knows? But I think that's one that I could read. I'd read it.
I could
I
say
It'd take
something
me
like
2 weeks. But I'd read it.
2 weeks, please, Mike. We know the truth. I could see something like a reverse, like Big Bang kind of thing, like everything dies out and then starts over again, kind of thing. Like death becomes life.
Yeah, that's the problem with that one is you have to figure out how the universe ends, which is a pretty big ask, I feel like. But it would be a cool
Anyone can do
story,
it.
I agree.
Neil Gaiman could do it. Yeah, mine is similar to Matt's, where I think more background on the endless. Like in this volume, they hint at more of the um, despair, the original despair, and what happened to them.
And what
Like,
happened to the person who killed them also?
yeah, Daniel or the new Dream is explaining to Lita, like, the man who killed the first despair had much better reasons of doing it, and he will never stop like
And
being
will
tortured
suffer
for the rest of his
until that
existence.
ends the universe, yeah.
Yeah. So like that was intriguing to me. It's like, oh, okay. How does one, like, you could guess what despair took from him, but like, how does one kill despair? And that's a story that I would like to know more about for
Well,
sure.
the man's name was John Wick, and despair took his dog.
His dog.
Oh, fuck.
No, that was an interesting one too. It's like I don't think we ever see original despair.
But like, did he make despair laugh? Like, how do you kill despair? And like, what did despair's funeral look like? Because this funeral was held in the Dreaming, because Dream
I was
died.
thinking about that too. Actually, is like, what would funerals for the others?
Is it
of
just
them
like a
look
bunch of people in nooses? What is the
Like,
what's the funeral of despair look
who
like?
attends and how?
Yeah.
For like desire.
Is it just all the suicide victims are there for the funeral?
Yeah, man, I don't know. Like, I was trying to think of that. I was like, nah, that's one of those things that I don't.
And like, are
understand
all the
rules of.
other are all the other endless the original endlesses? Like, are like the only other ones that have shifted to a new point of view, which I thought was a very cool way to explain the death of one endless to the next, is it's just a change of view, perspective.
Yeah, the thing that messes with that too is this is another one I was thinking of is like
Delirium.
delirium is delight.
Yes,
Like,
that's
it's the
another one. It's
same-
like, what
it's the same one,
happened?
but like
Something like they reference it numerous times that there was an event, a thing happened to Delight to turn her from Delight into a more like a problem, like the more intense, more dangerous delirium.
yeah.
What happened? Like, what happened? It's sort of cool that we don't know, so maybe I don't need like 100% of the story, but like a glimpse into like more of the endless is what I want.
So can I tell you that there is no explanation in Overture, which is good, I think, honestly. Like, I agree with you that I don't think there is probably one that's satisfying, so it's probably best to leave it, but you do get to see actual delight for a second.
Well, you see her in Endless Night as well. She's Delight.
No.
She's the little girl playing underneath the table.
I mean, that story was unreadable, so I don't know.
That's not true.
That story was unreadable.
Matthew, that is the best story in Endless Night. It's the dream story. It's illustrated beautifully. Reread it. It's amazing. You see Delight.
No, the dream one. Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, it's not the Delirium one. Delirium, she's Delirium.
2 years after we did that one.
The Delirium one is Barnabas getting a bunch of other mentally challenged people to go and save Delirium from her own like world.
Headspace, yeah.
Yeah.
Good old Barnabas.
Which was cool.
What happened?
Oh, can I just say that Matthew's introduction of Dog
Dog was funny. They named all the endless and then guess what
and Dog?
Barnabas's name was? Dog?
Beautiful. Well done, man.
It was good. They made me exhale through my nose.
I exhaled with passion. It was a passionate exhale.
There you go.
Before we move on, the only loose end from the kindly ones that I think I care about and wasn't resolved to any satisfaction is what is going on in hell. Is anything going on in hell? What is like?
I don't think anything's going on.
Well, see, they're. I was about to go down a tirade on explaining the plot of The Good Place, but I'll shut up.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Because like
go ahead.
the angels appear in this volume, and like they were gonna like talk to Lucifer about something in the kindly ones.
They wanted Lucifer to take hell back.
Yeah, but like because something was happening and why. Like,
I
that's
didn't
really
get that. I just think they just desperately want to go back to heaven. The city of glass or whatever they call it.
Could be.
But yeah, I thought it was just like hell is just now a different type of hell that they actually are trying to redeem you, and that makes it.
Yeah, I thought they were actually
worse.
Like they were having a good time, or at least one of them was.
Oh no, I think both of them absolutely hate it.
Ramiel or whatever their names are.
Yeah, Dumas, is that what his name is? I don't remember.
Pretty sure Duma is right. I think Ramiel is the other one, and I'm sure
The one that doesn't talk ever and is driving the other one insane by not talking. Oh, they're funny.
Jianyu, it's great.
And they don't touch the ground. At least the one doesn't. Yeah, I don't know. That'd be cool. I just want more endless.
It's
More
mostly endless stuff, right?
endless.
Though, like I looked through just like quickly synopses of the other volumes to like see if there were side characters that I cared about or wanted more from. And I was like, I think most of them actually got wrapped up okay.
Mhm. Well, that's why that
Between
one issue in Endless Nights is amazing because it gives you background, more background of the Endless. I think we
Endless.
see original Despair, who talks about how wonderful it was to kill Krypton.
Yeah,
So yeah, I don't know. More. I want more, Neil.
there was.
Write me
Hold
10
on.
more volumes about
About the Sandman.
about a different Endless.
I mean, there are ongoing Sandman comics right now, so you could
True.
those, I guess.
This is true.
But why?
I mean,
We're not recording a podcast. Those I'm not going to read them.
we could. We
I have them listed above our show notes.
Yeah.
You guys are going to make
I
me buy
had
them.
just thought of one side story that I actually cared about. No, I forgot it.
Oh,
So
sorry.
clearly, I cared about it
Oh,
a
no.
lot.
All right, Mike, what's that question that you so
That question I got?
originally
We're going there? Okay.
hmm
So, my original question, without any other influence from any other members of this conversation,
Quite unique, yes. Mhm.
Yeah,
entirely unique, without any. Yeah. Fuck you guys. I worded it specifically so it was different than you get. Fuck you. Anyways,
Literally written above what you put. Yeah, go ahead.
You say you came up with it today, but I came up with it 2 days ago, and you read it, so I don't feel like
except
that's
you wrote it
true.
differently. You wrote it differently.
Commented
So,
on it, and then today said, I thought up a new
That's a
question.
great idea.
Oh,
Oh.
What to talk
sometimes
about?
I feel like I'm Homer. I do identify with him more as I get older. Anywho, so the way Matt wrote it, which is inferior, is how do you think the dreaming will change with Daniel in charge? Um,
Mike, you
the way
never actually wrote it as a question. I was gonna write it in the document, the
you can
discussion
write it as a
document, as you had written
doesn't
it,
need
and
to
you had
be a
not written it as
question.
a question, so I
It
wrote it
doesn't
as I
need to
wrote
have a
it.
question mark to be a question. I'm demanding commentary, and that is, how do you? That's the same one you wrote. Compare and contrast the two dreams we see in the last two issues, Daniel and Morpheus. There,
Daniel
look,
and
I'm
Morpheus?
demanding. I'm not asking a question. I'm demanding input. See, that's how Homer do.
Well, one has a lot of white, and the other one has a lot of black. All right,
Solved it.
I've
Well,
done
that's it. We
Let's go
did it.
home.
We're done. That's a wrap.
And we're done.
Put a bow on
Wrap.
it.
One has black hair, one has white hair.
You guys
And one's
suck.
got a green stone, and the other one's got a red stone.
Why the
Done.
fuck is the stone a different color? I'm confused.
Because it's a
by it.
different
Like,
stone.
Stone, man.
someday we gotta blow up the emerald. Like, what? Why is it an emerald now? Why wasn't it a ruby?
He's got a bunch of different stones.
Why?
There's more side stories. Let's talk about all the other stones.
Yeah, I don't know if we even get a comprehensive list of stones. I mean, there's the
definitely
rose
don't.
one from A Game of You,
Mhm.
the one with the cuckoo,
Mhm.
the ruby, the
Mhm.
emerald.
Mhm.
Somewhere there's a peridot, probably, because peridot's the best one. Oh, sorry, we became a
Yes.
Steven Universe.
Oh my god,
podcast.
that's a crossover we need. Holy shit. Yes, done. All right, I know what our next podcast series is. Let's go. Let's do this.
All right, I'm in.
I'm confused. You lost me.
Oh, Mike, you'd love it.
I think you would actually.
I'm still just trying to wander down whatever the avenues of my mind are that had like an actual side story that I was interested in. So you guys go first.
Well, I mean, there
All
is the different color coding of them, but I mean, obviously, it looks like Daniel has a more positive outlook on things than Morpheus did.
No, and like is more forgiving, right? Can you imagine Morpheus like blessing Lyta and sending her on her way as opposed to throwing her in hell for thousands of years?
Right.
He threw his
It's a
lover in
very
hell because
different
she
path.
jilted him.
Yeah.
His lover spent eternity in hell because she didn't say yes when he asked to marry. I have a feeling that Lyta would be. What was that guy that pushes the stone up the mountain and then has it fall back down and
Sisyphus?
then he gets eaten? There we go. Yeah, that
Yeah.
would be the easy. That'd be her best case scenario.
much more forgiving, to the point where I'm like, are the nightmares going to be gentler? Will people not have as bad nightmares?
Maybe.
It's possible. He pets the doorkeepers, and that makes me
The
happy.
hippogriff. Yeah.
Yeah.
It
I
freaks him out,
remembered-
creeps him out a little bit. He's like, Master, what are you doing?
I remembered the side story I want,
Yeah.
or at least one of them. Cluricon and his nemesis, because I
That's
don't
so
like
weird.
Cluricon. I would be fine reading the story where he is defeated by his nemesis. All right, carry on.
I love that his nemesis is a deer too. It's gonna fucking die to a deer. Jesus,
Stag,
humiliating.
man.
Shape-shifting stag thing, really, but
Sure.
Yeah. Which was the boggart that talked to. What's her name?
Yep. Yep.
do you think
Although-
Morpheus would have let Fiddler's Green stay dead? I feel like he might not have.
Well, okay, I'm sorry. I'm still thinking about Claricon's nemesis, which we saw the Daniel dream create, right? Or at least trick Claricon into creating.
He
So
was there. I
Daniel,
don't know if he tricked him into it.
no, he led him off the path as a cat,
He did
And
it.
then-
Yeah, okay.
and then turns into Dream Daniel, and then the nemesis is born. So Dream Daniel is the reason why. What is the elf's name? I can't think of her
Nuala?
name. Nuala is the reason why Nuala called Morpheus back to Fairy. So Daniel caused Morpheus's death.
That is something you should keep in your back pocket for when we talk about Overture. He said for the 80th time
Hey!
this podcast.
There we go. Anyways, we're talking about
The
Mike's.
banners flare, the trumpets go. Oh, he said Overture again.
Overture.
I promise it's not meaningless. There is actually like some cool payoff. Anyways.
We're talking about Mike's original, unique, one of a kind question.
Yeah. He
okay.
made this.
Yes.
You guys suck. I hate you both. Anyways, no, I think that the dreaming will be very much more I don't want to say active, because that implies the old dream wasn't doing his job.
He very
I
much
think-
was doing his job.
He very much- that was
And
literally the
only
thing
that.
he was doing. But I think dreams are going to be wilder. Like, I don't think he's. For some reason, I get the feeling that he's not going to be as
Rigid.
rigid. He's a
Strict.
totally new. Like, first, he's inexperienced, so there's a whole bunch of learning he's got to do. So he's going to
He's
be a
got
while
Matthew
before-
for that. It's all good.
Yeah, he's got a 20-year-old Raven. Sure. Yeah, I'm not disparaging. There's going to be a learning curve, and I don't think he's going to be the same. I think there's going to be some dreams are going to get nuts, y'all. Hold on to your butts.
It is kind of weird that he just starts creating the same creatures or dreams or whatever over again. Like Merv coming back
Yeah.
was weird to me. Of like, oh hey,
Oh, Merv
he's
Merv
just here.
Turnip Head.
Yeah.
You
I mean,
guys
like,
saw
that's-
that, right?
That his name is
Oh,
Turnip
the one
and-
in the Shakespeare
wait.
one was a turnip.
Yeah. Yep, it's Merv Turnip Head.
I didn't catch that.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
he's a
At some point, Dream decided that turnips are not to be trusted. Turned Merv into a pumpkin
Pumpkins.
instead.
There you go. All right.
But it's like it's a new aspect of Dream and starts by just like remaking the same things. So that was kind of like honestly a little bit concerning. But I think over the course of the volume, sort of like is learning the lesson that hey, Morpheus killed himself for a reason. Don't do exactly what that guy did.
Tries to bring Fiddler Green back. Fiddler Green's like, nope. I had a pretty decent end. I lived my life. I'm good. And then yeah, he doesn't bring back the same griffin that was killed horrifically in the Kindly Ones. He actually like reaches out to the Queen of Griffins to like recruit a new griffin, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah. It also establishes that there are like other realms besides quote unquote
dreaming
reality and the dreaming.
Yeah, the waking. Yeah.
Which I guess we kind of already knew what with fairy and everything, but it's a thing that I forget sometimes.
I do also think it's interesting that Daniel's like design, the fact that he's wearing an all white like, I don't know if kimono is the right word for it, but like a samurai, like a Japanese influenced robe is what he wears, at least in the beginning.
Mhm.
Like that really cool splash, like almost full page image of Daniel sitting on his throne, which is real nice.
Yeah. Definitely still distinctive.
Yeah. Daniel's got style. He learned real quick. But I thought it was interesting because in Japanese, white is the color of death and not black.
Huh.
So I don't know if there's anything there that Gaiman washes this new dream in white after the previous dream dies. I don't know.
Possible.
Maybe.
Say there certainly could be something to that.
For some reason, I get the feeling that this Gaiman fellow is illiterate. Type.
Literate.
You think he's a reader?
He can read. Yes, I do believe.
Does some of these crazy things like that.
I bet he's cracked a few books. Yes.
I believe.
But yeah, I think the dreaming's in for a new age.
You think he'll get his mopey about having girlfriends?
Maybe
Which
I'll have
is weird.
boyfriends.
Kinda
Maybe I'll
weird
switch it
that-
up.
Yeah, I was gonna say actually, it's kind of weird that it's always girlfriends. Now that you
Yeah.
think about it,
An internal entity. I was surprised Hob didn't ever try having a boyfriend.
I think he says he does at some
Does he?
point.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I don't remember if
Good
it's
for
in
Hob.
this volume or a different one, but I think he actually he did
Didn't
dabble.
work out.
Yeah,
Got tired of it. Goes around downstairs and drinks himself to death. It's great.
It did almost make me want to go to another Ren fair. It's been a while.
There's one down near you, isn't there?
Yeah,
yeah,
Let's do
Bristol.
that.
Bristol Ren Fair.
We'll do it.
I'm seeing Daniel smile in this panel. That's a difference. When he's
Yeah,
sitting
right?
on the dreamer's home.
We never do see Morpheus smile.
I think we do, but not very often.
And he and Matthew have a more friendly relationship than boss
More,
employee
yeah, more
relationship.
like, I don't know, respected, equal to some degree.
It's hard to say exactly how that translates into like what the dreaming will look like though, because again, there are rules and responsibilities, and I think that still is probably part of his gig, even if it's not as much a part of his gig than it was when he was Morpheus. But
Yeah, and I hope like the Daniel influence will last, but maybe like as the eons go on, it'll just revert
fade a
to
little bit.
Dream.
So that's the thing too, is like we've talked about how the endless are personifications of the thing, but are also influenced by the thing that they're personifications of, right? Like it's a weird cycle that we don't entirely understand how that works. Like,
Yeah.
so is
Yeah.
the fact that there's a new dream, like, is it our fault? Did we do it
Did we drive Dream to suicide?
to commit suicide?
I think so, yeah. I think
Okay,
we did.
good.
I blame
Look,
Mike.
you guys dreaming about it. It wasn't me.
Oh, no, it's too late. I already blamed you.
You can't blame me. Fuck you. I don't even hardly ever dream. It's all
Hardly
you guys.
ever.
So that
Hardly ever.
said, actually, this brings up the weird fan theory I stumbled into, which I feel like we should address before we put this volume to bed. Is Morpheus actually dead?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why would you say otherwise?
Well, who's walking with Hob and Destruction in that last page of Hobb's thing?
And destruction.
Yeah, in the last page of the Hob story, he is dreaming, and Destruction shows up with a beard, so it looks like some time has passed since Destruction had come to visit Daniel, and Morpheus is there. And if a version of Morpheus exists in the dreaming, does Morpheus not still exist? Because again, like Abel mentioned that he's just a point of view. Like,
I don't think I think that's probably just a reflection of. I don't think so.
what if people
Man.
dream into existence? Does he exist?
Man.
Okay.
I don't
No.
think so.
No, he's dead. He died. Otherwise, what the fuck's the point of all of it? If he's still alive, no, he's dead.
Oh, okay. Fiddler's Green.
Yeah.
Dead.
That's how you would be. Mervyn died. He's alive.
Okay.
Does
Yeah,
that
but-
ruin, does that ruin Mervyn's AK-47 panel?
It does
No.
a little bit.
I don't
No.
think it does actually. But I am a child of the death and rebirth cycle of superhero comics, so that would have to be my opinion, I think.
Yeah, I mean, no.
No, he's definitely dead. Short
Okay.
answer, Mike.
Is that the only instance, like the only evidence they pointed to in that Reddit thread that, oh, look, he met
Well, I
Hobb
actually
on a
read it
beach?
when we were talking about the kindly ones, so it's been a little bit, but it was basically like part of it was talking about how Gaiman says it's the whole story is like Morpheus deciding like realizing he has to change or die and then making a choice. And so theoretically he could have just actually changed. I honestly don't really believe the theory too, so it makes it harder for me to argue because I think the Morpheus we see wouldn't be able to do what Destruction has done.
And also, it's not like there's another Destruction. Destruction just completely stepped, like the existence of multiple versions of the same endless in this, like that just doesn't make any sense to me. That no. No.
You realize just by having this conversation that someone at DC is now having the discussion. Oh well, what if we do the new 52 with
Sandman and New 52.
Restart it.
Oh
you
god.
realize
I mean,
this
they
is
don't
on you.
have to, right? Like part of the reason the epilogues are here is because it shows like you can just dip back in and tell a Morpheus story if you want. You don't need to resurrect him.
I mean, there are, like you pointed out, there are a lot of Sandman universe comics that came after this and after Overture as well. So they're still telling Sandman stories.
Are there different endlesses in each of the DC universes?
I don't think so, actually.
I think
But I'm
they're
not sure.
all the same. I don't know.
I think canonically there aren't. We'll have to look at Dark Knight's Metal. Put that on the Sandman reading list. Daniel shows up in that. That's like a crisis level crossover thing.
No. No.
Also, I think approved by Mr. Gaiman. So
Neil doesn't know what he's doing anymore. He's lost it.
He's
Completely
lost.
it.
I don't think he has actually. But that's neither here nor there.
Still haven't watched the Netflix. I haven't watched the Netflix show yet, so maybe I'll get around to doing that sometime.
He still lives in northern Wisconsin.
I don't think so.
I think he does.
No,
No.
I think he moved back.
Okay.
Did you get the Wisconsin reference in this? One
No,
of the books that Rose Tyler got from her mother's.
Rose Tyler lol, by the way.
Did I say Rose Tyler? Fuck! Rose Walker, no!
Best companion.
Fucking A. Yes, Rose Walker is the best companion. Fuck. No, Rose Walker got a Wisconsin, like, tourist book. I don't remember exactly, but it's like a book about, I think it's probably about the area that Neil Gaiman moved to.
Well, I did notice that. It's like Death Comes to... I don't remember. Now I'm just thinking of Death Comes to Door County, which I don't think is the book she mentions, but it's something...
No, it was like a... Yeah. The word Wisconsin was in Sandman of the Wake, so I took note.
Take that, listeners that live elsewhere.
Come to Wisconsin. We drink. We eat cheese. We fart. Packers!
With that, I guess, with that auspicious ending provided by Michael Drew himself, I think we will end our discussion of The Sandman, Volume 10.
He did apologize at the start, Pat.
I think you need to do it at the end too, Mike. Get ready. As we've hinted at massively throughout this discussion, next time we'll be talking about Sandman Overture, the 11th volume of the Sandman. I don't know where they could put it, but
I think technically Endless Nights is volume 11. We discovered when we read Endless Nights. Like, it's literally labeled volume 11 now, which I don't know how I feel about that.
It doesn't feel good.
At the same time, though, if I was doing it, I would probably label Overture Volume 0, so I don't know how I feel about that either.
Then you would confuse people and they would read it first and spoil a bunch of stuff for the rest of the series.
No, because it's 0. You should read 1 first.
What?
No, definitely don't read Overture first.
The fact that you just said you read 1 before 0.
Yeah.
No. What?
Yeah. It's Volume 0.
So you read 1 first?
Yeah.
How does that make sense? What? What are you talking
it's like
about?
You've never even seen a comic series that has a volume 0.
We did episode 0 for this podcast. When are they supposed to listen to that?
They can't listen to it yet,
Never.
so we end the podcast.
Anyways, so yeah, next time we'll be ending with Volume 0, Sandman Overture, which I've read an issue of. Mike hasn't read it ever, and Matt's read a couple times now.
I read today.
So yeah, join us next time, and hopefully have some good discussions. Mike's gonna have a humdinger of a question, so
I'm sorry.